Hello, my dears. If you're over 70 like me, you've likely earned the right to stop doing things that don't really add value to your life. Today, we're talking about 10 household chores that just aren't worth your energy anymore. Trust me, there are smarter, easier ways to get things done. Let's dive in. Let me start with a story about cleaning windows. Years ago, I was obsessed with having the cleanest windows on the block. Every week I'd haul out the ladder, grab my spray bottle and rag, and spend hours scrubbing and polishing, determined to make my home shine inside and out. I thought spotless windows were key to making a good impression. But one day, while precariously balancing on that ladder, it hit me. I was exhausted. My arms were sore, my knees ached, and for what? No one was coming over to inspect my windows, and not a single neighbor had ever complimented my sparkling glass. I realized I was putting too much energy into something so trivial. Now I hire a professional cleaning service twice a year to handle the windows, inside and out. It's worth every penny. I no longer risk my safety climbing ladders, and my time is better spent doing things I enjoy, like catching up with family or relaxing with a good book. For the rest of the year, I don't worry about a few fingerprints or a little dust. They don't define the comfort of my home. Now, let's talk about scrubbing baseboards. Oh, baseboards! If I had $1 for every hour I've spent scrubbing them, I could probably afford a beachfront vacation by now. When I was younger, I thought clean baseboards were the hallmark of a well-kept home. I'd get down on my hands and knees, bucket in tow, scrubbing until every speck of dust and scuff mark disappeared. But over time, I started noticing something. Nobody ever commented on my baseboards. They'd praise my cooking, admire my garden, or notice my nice throw pillows. But not once did anyone say, "Wow, your baseboards are immaculate." That's when it hit me. This was a thankless chore that wasn't worth the strain on my knees or back. Now I use a long-handled mop or a Swiffer duster to give the baseboards a quick swipe every couple of weeks. If there's a noticeable spot, I might tackle it with a damp cloth, but that's as far as I go. Letting go of this obsessive scrubbing has saved my body from unnecessary strain. And guess what? My home still feels warm, welcoming, and clean without the backbreaking work. And here's a confession. I used to iron my bed sheets religiously. I believed that perfectly pressed sheets were a sign of a well-kept home. I'd spend hours sweating over the ironing board, smoothing out every wrinkle and fold. It felt like a never-ending battle, especially with those fitted sheets that always seemed to defy me. Then, one day, I realized, why was I doing this? The sheets were going to get wrinkled as soon as someone laid down on them. I wasn't hosting guests in my bedroom or running a luxury hotel, so I stopped ironing the sheets. Now, I save myself the time and effort, and my bed still looks cozy and inviting without all the extra fuss. It's a simple change that's made a big difference in how I spend my time and my energy. These small adjustments have made my life easier, and I'm here to tell you, you don't need to do everything the way you used to. Prioritize what truly matters, and let go of the tasks that drain your energy. There are smarter, simpler ways to keep your home clean and comfortable without wearing yourself out. Hotel quality standards. I was putting all this effort into a task that no one but me even noticed. Eventually, I realized the futility of it all. Now, I've embraced a much simpler system. When the sheets come out of the dryer, I take them out immediately, give them a good shake, and put them straight onto the bed. They might not be perfectly pressed, but they're clean, soft, and just as comfortable. The best part? I've gained hours of my life back. Hours that I now spend doing things that truly bring me joy. Ironing bed sheets is one of those traditions we've all inherited without questioning, but when you stop and think about it, it doesn't make a bit of sense. Let it go. and enjoy the freedom of knowing your time is too valuable to waste on meaningless chores. This small change has been a game changer in how I spend my days, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. Now, let's talk about polishing silverware. Those elegant, shiny utensils we've collected over the years for special occasions. I used to spend hours polishing my silverware until it gleamed like a treasure chest of antiques. Every little tarnish felt like a blemish on my hosting reputation, and I couldn't bear the thought of serving dinner without those perfect, shiny forks and spoons. But here's the thing. How often do you really use your fancy silverware these days? And when you do your guests actually notice? Most people are so focused on enjoying the meal that they don't even give a second thought to whether the silverware is sparkling. Over time, I came to realize that all my scrubbing and polishing was for a detail that no one else appreciated but me. Now, I bring out the silver only for rare special occasions, and even then, I use a quick cleaning polish or wipes that do the job in just minutes. For everyday meals, I rely on my trusty stainless steel cutlery, which stays bright without all the fuss. It's simpler, easier, and lets me focus on what really matters, enjoying the company of my loved ones rather than exhausting myself on a task no one notices before they even arrive. For years I was convinced that every speck of dust lurking under my furniture was a catastrophe waiting to happen. Every week I'd summon my strength to move heavy couches, tables and chairs just to vacuum the hidden spaces no one ever sees. By the time I finished, I'd be completely drained. And let's not even talk about the backaches that followed. But over time, I've learned to let go of that relentless perfectionism. If you're not hosting a museum tour, there's no need to keep the hidden corners of your home spotless every single week. Instead of constantly moving furniture around, I now use a robotic vacuum cleaner. It's like having a little helper that glides under the furniture for me, picking up whatever dust it finds. If you don't have one, don't stress about it. Just do a deep clean every few months. Most dust will stay put until you're ready to deal with it. And if a few dust bunnies are having a party under your sofa, let them. They're not hurting anyone. Save your strength for things that make you happy, not things that wear you out. Let's move on to the pantry, that place of both order and chaos. I used to rearrange my pantry every single month, making sure every can, jar and box was perfectly aligned, like soldiers standing at attention. It became a ritual for me, one that I thought would make my kitchen feel more organized and pristine. But over time, I began to realize that this effort was unnecessary. The pantry is a place where things are constantly coming in and out, and no matter how often I rearranged, things just didn't stay that way for long. So, I stopped the monthly ritual of perfect organization. Now I focus on keeping it clean and tidy, but I don't stress over every little detail. I've learned that a little clutter in the pantry isn't the end of the world. A simple system of checking expiration dates and occasionally tidying up is all that's needed to keep things functional. I save myself hours of organizing, which I can now spend on more meaningful activities like cooking a delicious meal or enjoying a moment of peace with a cup of tea. These changes have helped me simplify my life in ways I never imagined. I've let go of the pressure to maintain perfection in every corner of my home and have embraced a much easier, more balanced approach to household chores. When you stop focusing on tasks that don't truly add value, you create space for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. Life after 70 should be about living with less stress and more enjoyment, and these small adjustments have made all the difference. I used to think that a well-organized pantry was a sign of being a great homemaker, but let me tell you, it quickly became a full-time job. The truth is, as long as you know where the essentials are, the rest doesn't matter. These days, I keep things simple. I have designated sections for the basics: grains, canned goods, snacks, and spices. Beyond that, I don't overthink it. Unless something's expired or spilled, there's no need to reorganize everything constantly. If you're like me and don't want to spend hours rummaging through shelves, clear bins or baskets, can help keep similar items together. A deep clean once a year is more than enough to keep your pantry functional. Your time shouldn't be spent lining up soup cans. It should be spent enjoying that soup with people you care about. Washing walls used to be a regular chore for me. Every month I'd scrub my walls, convinced that even the smallest stain or mark was a sign of neglect. I'd get out the bucket, sponge and detergent and work my way around the entire house. By the time I was done, I felt like I'd run a marathon. But let's be honest, how often do you really notice the walls, except for the occasional fingerprints or smudges near light switches or doorknobs? Walls can look fresh and new for months with just a simple wipe down when necessary. These days, I don't make washing my walls a regular chore. Instead, I spot clean areas that need attention, like sticky spots in the hallway or handprints in the kitchen. If I feel the need, I tackle the walls during my annual spring cleaning, when the whole house gets a thorough once-over. Otherwise, I simply don't worry about it. Washing your walls every month is just an unnecessary way to exhaust yourself. A quick dusting of the walls, ceiling and wiping down high-traffic spots is plenty to keep your home looking clean and welcoming. Hand-washing dishes every night used to be my routine. No dishwasher for me. If there were pots and pans from the evening's meal, I'd spend an hour scrubbing, rinsing, drying and putting them away. At the time, I thought this was just part of having a clean kitchen, but I quickly realized it was wearing me out unnecessarily. Having a dishwasher isn't about being lazy, it's about working smarter, not harder. Now, if there's something that needs washing right away, I'll do it, but most nights, the dishwasher handles it all for me while I sit down, relax, or chat with family. When it's done, I just unload and go about my evening. If you don't have a dishwasher, here's a tip. Try doing a load or two per day to keep things manageable. That way, the buildup of dishes won't feel overwhelming and your kitchen stays tidy. You deserve the ease of modern appliances, especially when it means getting more quality time to yourself instead of standing at the sink scrubbing away. Replacing light bulbs immediately when they burn out used to drive me crazy. Every time a bulb went out, I'd scramble for a stepladder, search through my drawers for spare bulbs, and rush to replace it. Every burned-out bulb felt like an emergency, and I hated the thought of having a dark corner in the room. But one day, I took a step back and asked myself, does anyone really care if the bulb is out for a few days? The answer was no. The world doesn't stop spinning because one light in a room isn't working. Now, when a bulb goes out, I don't rush to replace it immediately, especially if it's in a part of the house where I don't need that much light. If it's convenient, I'll replace it, but there's no rush. The trick to avoiding light bulb anxiety is to keep extra bulbs on hand, so you don't have to scramble when one burns out. If the bulb is in a frequently used spot, like the kitchen or living room, sure, change it out quickly. But for other places, let it wait. Save your energy for what's truly important. Washing rugs and throw blankets regularly used to be one of my routines. Every few weeks, I'd drag the rugs and throws out for a wash, ensuring they stayed fresh and tidy. The idea of a dirty throw blanket on the couch just wasn't acceptable to me. But after years of this, I realized something. These items are meant to be lived in. First off, washing heavy rugs and throws can be a hassle. It's a whole production to move them, give them a good shake, and fit them into the washing machine. Plus, the wear and tear from washing them so frequently actually causes damage in the long run. These days, I've stopped obsessing over whether my rugs or blankets are perfectly pristine. A simple shakeout and spot cleaning are often enough to keep them looking fresh. If there's a spill or stain, I address it, but otherwise, I don't stress about frequent washes. They're meant to add comfort to my home, not to become another source of stress. By letting go of these unnecessary chores, I've found more time to focus on the things that truly matter, time for relaxation, hobbies, and spending moments with the people I love. It's all about simplifying your routine and working smarter, not harder. As we get older, it's important to prioritize what truly brings joy and ease into our lives, and these small changes have made a big difference for me. I've come to appreciate that a little wear and tear on things actually makes them feel more like home. I no longer fret about every little stain or spot. As long as they're clean and dry, my rugs and throw blankets are doing their job, adding comfort and coziness to my living room. So, if the rug looks a bit wrinkled or the throw has some visible signs of use, I let it be. It's all part of creating a lived-in atmosphere without overdoing it. The marks and wrinkles simply add to the warmth and character of my home. Floor waxing, on the other hand, used to be an essential task for me. I thought it was necessary to keep my floors looking glossy and polished, so every month or so I'd break out the wax and spend hours buffing it across the floors. It was a process, scrubbing, applying, buffing, and by the end of it, I'd be exhausted. But over time I realized that waxing every few weeks is just overkill. It's hard on your knees and back, and let's be honest, who really notices the difference once it's done? Floors are meant to be durable, and a simple sweep with a dry mop is usually enough to keep them clean. Now, I focus on regular sweeping and quick mopping, and if I ever feel the urge to bring back some shine, I'll do a gentle polish a couple of times a year. No more constant waxing. I save the heavy-duty treatments for when it's truly necessary, like during my annual deep cleaning session. My floors look great, and I'm not worn out from endless buffing. The garage and attic were once constant sources of stress for me. Every few months I'd dive into a big clean-out, trying to keep them organized and clutter-free. But no matter how many bags of old junk I threw away, or how perfectly everything was arranged, those spaces never quite felt right. Over time, I've learned to let go of this obsessive cleaning habit. Sure, it's nice to get a fresh start from time to time, but now I don't stress over them unless there's a real need. I do a quick check for anything that's truly unusable or dangerous, like expired paint cans or broken tools, but I no longer treat the garage or attic like a perfectionist's project. Occasionally I'll clean out one section when the mood strikes, but I've come to terms with the fact that clutter doesn't need to be completely gone for the space to be functional. It's enough to keep things organized and safe without making it a never-ending chore. The garage and attic don't need to be sparkling clean every month. What matters is that they serve their purpose. So there you have it. The 10 household chores that simply aren't worth your time and energy anymore. Remember, your time is precious. Spend it on things that bring you joy, not stress. Life after 70 is about living smarter and focusing on what truly matters. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and check out my Noble Pathways for more tips and tricks to make life after 70 as easy and fulfilling as possible. Until next time, take care and enjoy the journey.